All praises be to AHAYAH, Bahashem Yeshaya, Kwadash Warawak. Father, you're worthy to be praised. All praises be to the Most High. Worship you. I worship you. And I sing my praise to you. I sing my praise. Even in the midst of my storm. When I don't see a way out, I lift my voice to you. And I sing my praise to you. I sing my praise. Even in the midst of my storm. When I don't see a way out, I lift my voice to you. Oh God of Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, made them a promise, Lord, to them a nation you'll raise up, a people called by your name, to keep your commandments. And when they were in Egypt, you sent forth Moses to set them free.
A question about the Most High's name. Can we find proof of it outside the King James Bible and any other Bible or record?
Well, normally I would answer that question if people had that question before the Most High revealed his name as AHAYAH. Because no one asked the Jehovah's Witnesses could they find that outside of the Bible.
You know, the question was asked, you know, why did we leave? And that's a question a lot of people often ask. JT, why did y'all guys leave? I mean, the reason I left was strictly for doctrinal reasons.
No one questioned his name when our people in the neighborhood believed it was Allah. Okay. No one questioned Christ's name when they thought his name was Jesus when there was no J's during Christ's time.
The gig is up. I'm not the real Jesus. As a matter of fact, the fella's name wasn't even Jesus. He had a Hebrew name. There wasn't a letter J until a few hundred years ago. With that being said, I have fooled the whole world into the biggest sham of all time. The name and identity of the real fella has been taken over by me. There are thousands of paintings of Jesus and they don't even come close, which served to replace the real fella who probably looked more like Morgan Freeman.
So now all of a sudden we finally find the name of the Most High, and we have to find it somewhere else too. All of a sudden. Where was this fervent effort of finding his name before his name was revealed? Okay. And don't tell me there was an effort out there, because again, I came in like late 92 into this truth, and I knew nothing of AHAYAH's name, and I was being taught that his name was Yahweh or Yahweh. And there was no question out there anywhere that we should be looking for something outside of the Bible for that name. So when you start doing that for everyone else, every other name that's out there, then come back. But I'm going to stick with what the Most High told Moses. Okay? I don't need to see it nowhere else. It's right there. He says, I am that I am. When Moses specifically asked him his name. Okay? What's next?
Okay, next we had a couple different questions when it comes to the calendar. One was wanting to know about the Equal Parts, Equal Day website that you can go, because from what they're seeing, the Equal Parts Day is changing from year to year.
Well, listen, we've already done that. Get the calendar and follow the calendar, because you'll never be able to figure it out. Okay? You won't be able to figure it out. We've already done it for you. Now, there's a time that's reckoned from the heavenly tables, from the beginning, that those in Christ must link to now, so that we can understand the time. Okay? Now, let me share my screen with you here. And we're going to go step by step, take a pencil and pad for those who was dealing with the calculation and was wondering how we deal with it. Just follow us, and I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, that's my screen. All right. All right. So here we are. We're at the Naval Observatory. The Naval Observatory website. Now, the reason why we go to this website is because when it comes to when time comes in, it's more accurate than any other calculation you can get. Of course, sometimes it may be a minute or two off in certain instances, but it's still closer than any other calculation you could have. All right? So what we do is we go to the data services and we hit rise. We hit rise and set twilight table. That's the table we're at here. You go data services, rise and twilight table for an entire year. And you click on that, and that takes us to the page we're at. We're here, all right? You go down to Form B, right here. Why? Because we're not calculating from the United States. We're calculating worldwide. Okay? Worldwide. See? Locations worldwide. All right? Now, where will we be calculating from? Mount Sinai. See? So in order for us to calculate and get some specifics for Mount Sinai, being that there's no calculation from Mount Sinai itself, we must put in the degrees. So, we're going east. Now check out the degrees we must put in longitude. You got it. 33 degrees. See? All right. Then we go to the next. Latitude north. Right? The latitude north is 28 degrees. Why? Because we're coming 2 hours east of Greenwich. See? There's a calculation from Greenwich that's near or 2 hours in proximity of time that close to Sinai. So we put that latitude north 28 degrees, 2 hours east of Greenwich, right? Now we did this last year and did a calculation for 2013. So let me give you that first. Right? Now before I go here, let me show you the area from whence the Most High was speaking to the children of Israel, our forefathers. He was speaking to us. He was speaking to us from Mount Sinai, as you can see here. So we're going to use this in proximity to give you the reckon of times from when the sun comes up in this particular area, to give you the first day of the year, starting back when we first calculated it, right? Follow us closely here. So we're going back to the calculation. 33 east, longitude, 28 degrees north latitude, 2 hours east of Greenwich, which is Mount Sinai. Then after that, you hit compute table. All right. Now, this is what we got last year for 2013 for Mount Sinai. Now, what's great about this is if you do have a computer, have a printer hooked up to it, you can just print it out and look at the calculations there. What we're going to do is we're going to look at March, seeing when the sun rise and the sun set. See that? So I'm going to go to about right here. And I want y'all to see something here. Look at this here. Look at here on the 17th of last year. The sun rose at 5:57. See that? 5:57 in the morning, and it set 5:57 in the evening. That's an equal 12 hours, right? Some people might say, well, the first day of the year was the 17th. Well, no. When you go back one day, we got the 16th here, right?
Yes, the 16th.
Exactly. So it's not the 17th, it's the 16th. Let me correct that. As you can see, the 16th, let me highlight it here because these lines are small. Excuse me. Let me get it so they can see it. 16th of last year. 5:57, 17:57, right? And when was the Passover last year? I mean, when was the first day of the year last year? March 16th, right? 12 hours, right? But look at the 12 hours right here the day before. 5:57, which gives us the 12 hours part night and the 12 hours part day coming into sundown. You see that? And that's why last year it was the 16th. See? The night before then, 5:57 is when the sun set. So from 5:57 here, the sun set for the last day of the year. And it rose 5:57 going into what? The first day of the year. Equal parts night, equal parts day. Beyond any shadow of a doubt from Mount Sinai. From there on, there's no need going forward to have to calculate anything. Because once we got the first day of the year, we're on the cycle of Sabbaths. And it so happened that this came in on Saturday sundown. The end of the Sabbath is the last day of the year. Now check that out. The Most High is perfect in his time. And one thing about doing it the first time, we don't have to keep figuring out every year like those who follow the moon, because it's an equal 52 weeks. Okay? It's a cycle that never changes. So there's no need in every year looking for equal parts day and night. No need in doing it. Because it comes around 364, which is a complete calendar year. Okay? We've already done it for you. And if you try to do it and one variable is wrong, you'll be all over the place and try to come back to us and say that we're wrong. We're not wrong. Get our calendar. We've done it for you. Don't waste your time. Study what we've given you. All the scriptures are there and everything. Okay? You get one variable wrong, one coordinate is wrong, and then you will think you have it when we already did that before you even knew about a 364-day calendar. Okay? Help yourself out. Focus on something else. Okay? We've already done that for you. Okay? What's next?
Next question. We had a question about pro-recreation in the kingdom of heaven.
Someone asked me, how did I find AHAYAH though? And that's a good question. That's a perfect question. Because for years we were going into the Hebrew. We had a Hebrew class of the ancient and Phoenician. When I was up in the 90s in that. And every time we would go, when we were on the street challenging rabbis or whatever the case is, we would point to Yahweh or Yahweh as God's name. But I was up on the podium, and the more I started learning words and all that and seeing things, something did pop out to me. That we would actually skip the Most High's name in the Torah, Ahaya Ashar Ahaya or Ayah Ashar Ayah, and go directly to Yahweh. It wasn't until we started studying the Hebrew and getting the Hebrew words and all that until I started recognizing even on the podium we're skipping his name, but I didn't make no big deal out of it. But we were just skipping the name. And all those who are denying the name of the Most High, and all those that claim his name is Yah or Jehovah or Jai or of the Tetragrammaton, they don't have the seal of the Most High. Regardless of what they might feel personally, I know some people might be offended, but this is not about offense. This is about teaching truth. The Most High gave his name, and his name is Ahaya. He told Moses his name, and those of the elect that have the seal understands this. Later on down the line, it was some brothers, and we were fasting together, and the Most High revealed it all during that time period. And then that's when it all came together. This is why we were skipping that name. It was right there in front where the Most High says his name, but yet we were purposely skipping it. Why? You know why? Because we was upholding Yahweh and of course, they didn't need a conflict or division after years of telling people that this was the name of God. That's like going into the Jehovah's Witnesses and saying, well, hold up, y'all. His name is not Jehovah. So, of course, that wasn't a deciding factor on why I was no longer amongst them. Because I didn't really get that verified until I was out years afterwards. I'm going to prove beyond any shadow of a doubt for those that are out there. And if you want to, you can make a copy of this. You can publish it. You can give it to anyone you want. All right? I'll tell you what. Some people may feel a certain type of way where they feel that, okay, we don't want to hear it from this guy or whatever the case is. That's fine. Why don't you just follow the scriptures and separate us from what you're about to understand? So that you'll have the seal regardless of any other man or any person. So you can understand it. What number do you see for Lord in Exodus 32 and 5 here?
3068.
What number?
3068. H 3068.
So the feast unto the Lord, according to the Bible, according to the Hebrew, is what?
Yahweh.
Is what?
Yahweh.
Yahweh, which means what?
The self-existent or eternal Jehovah, Jewish national name of God.
It's the Jewish national name of God. So the golden calf in which Aaron was making a feast to, name was what? Yahweh. Yahweh, the God of the Tetragrammaton. So when our people were in that sleep mode, or in that dead mode and lost our identity, the Masoretes under the Jewish people scribed the name of the calf into our records. When we began to awaken as a people and started realizing that we were the children of Israel, because don't forget, they got our records too, and they knew we would start coming back to our God. They purposely had Yahweh or Yahweh in the record so that we could call on their deity, still giving them power over us, following a God that our people brought with us out of the land of Egypt. Do the research. Yahweh, Yahweh, Yah, all these gods that I've just mentioned were in Egypt before we went into the land of Canaan. So the God of the golden calf or the bull is Yahweh or Yahweh, and it links to Yabulon or Jabulon, the god of the Masons. Do your research.
Laying my life on the line, I'm begging